Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Beyond Your Horizon podcast. This is a podcast where I like to encourage you to go beyond your perceived limitations so that you and I together can manifest the life that we truly desire. I am your host, Jon John, and Today, we are going to dive into a powerful and heartfelt conversation. We're going to be talking about healing, love, and authenticity. I am so glad and so happy that joining me again is my friend and someone who I do see as a brother. We've really gotten really close, and every time he calls me, or I call him, it's always a funny, loving conversation. And I am glad to say that he's in my circle. I like that. But Anthony D. Jackson is also known as the Unconventional Therapist. Anthony is a licensed associate professional counselor, a child therapist, and he is a published researcher whose work focuses on helping people, and especially the people within the Black and LGBTQ, and that's LGBTQ plus communities. He helps people to heal from trauma and rediscover their voices. Together, we're going to talk about self-love, breaking free from internalized shame, and what it means to intentionally prepare for real romantic connection. So, as I often say in my introduction, sit back, relax, get comfortable, and let's get ready to go beyond our horizon with Anthony D. Jackson. And before I cue the episode, I do want to thank all of you who have listened to my podcast, who have shared my podcast and watched it now that I am on YouTube. I thank every one of you. I don't know what is in store for this podcast, but I am willing to take the ride and take the journey and figure out what's at the end of it. I am getting people now emailing me wanting to be on the podcast, and I'm excited and happy to have a platform that I feel is a light in the place of darkness, meaning that there may be someone who is lost and cannot find their way, and I am happy that a podcast like Beyond Your Horizon can be a light to someone. So thanks for listening, and let's get into this episode like you're getting into this beat. All right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Beyond Your Horizon
I'm gonna
podcast.
need you to
Sorry.
start over because I don't know
No, you're
what
fine.
was going on right
No, I
there.
want that natural, honey. No, but no, I know because I was getting a message that the quality of the video would be higher, and I'm trying to read
Try
it
that
and
too.
realize, like, wait a minute, is it saying something is wrong? Okay, but no, we're going to keep it we're going to keep it going because this is just the world of podcasting. But anywho, the voice you are hearing in today's guest is Anthony D. Jackson. Some of us know him as Anthony J. Sometimes I call him AJ. He's also known as the Unconventional Therapist. Anthony is a clinical mental health counselor with a Master's of Science degree from Fort Valley State University, and he's licensed here in Georgia as an associate professional counselor. Anthony has a heart for serving the African American and LGBTQ communities, and he works with individuals, couples, and families dealing with depression, anxiety, mood disorders, substance use, and major life transition. Now, what makes Anthony stand out is his blended approach. he draws from what psychodynamic therapy, person-centered therapy, solution-focused therapy, and CBT, or cognitive behavioral your therapy, which is a
You
method
know
that
our
helps.
acronyms.
Yeah, hey, I had to do my research, and so because I didn't really know what that CBT was, right? But then I learned that it is a method that helps people identify harmful thought patterns, challenge them, and create new, healthier ways of thinking and behaving. So whether it's through coaching, counseling, or just keeping it real, Anthony creates safe and affirming spaces for people to heal, grow, and truly transform. And I'm happy to be able to call this man not only my friend, but also a reoccurring guest on the Beyond Your Horizon podcast. So good morning, Anthony.
Good
Welcome.
morning. How are you? I mean, I'm so happy to be back here. A lot has changed since the last time we spoke. I think the last time we spoke, I was actually in my master's program at Fort Valley
Mm-hmm.
State. But since then, I have become a published clinical researcher. I wrote a chapter in a book on counseling men. Basically, it's called Southern Boy Blues, the manifestations of depressive symptomology in Black gay men of the South. Basically, it looks at, how Black men can manifest depression, anxiety, PTSD, especially if you are same gender loving, if you are bisexual. But it also looks at the psychosocial stressors such as environments you grew up in, aging in the Black community, HIV status. It also looks at trauma. So it's a good read. If anybody wanted to know where to find it, I can tell you where to find it at. But also, life has steered me into child therapy. So Monday through Friday, who would have thought that I would actually be a child therapist providing clinical mental health services to elementary and middle school students from 8 to 5. And then after that, I see my private clients under supervision from Dr. Adrian White, who is a practice owner here in the Atlanta area, who has a practice in Buckhead. And we also serve individuals online, but she's also a wonderful educator. She's a professor of counseling, clinical mental health counseling at Fort Valley State University. So shout out to her. Love
Yes.
you down. Thank you for seeing the gift in me and developing it. But yeah, let's just dive right on in because I know you're gonna come with the foolishness.
No. This is definitely not going to be well, I don't foolishness is not the goal. Okay. So if
Okay.
foolishness does come up, it's gonna come up organically because I'm really coming at you again, well, I want to say first is congrats to you for all the hard work you have put in, because you are right. When you first came on the podcast, you were like on the way to where you are now. So it is truly beautiful to hear that story, and just to see how you have maintained focus on what you were going after, and you have pursued it to the end, and it sounds like you even have further to go. So it's amazing.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
really
that's it.
is. Yeah. Yeah. And to do it the way you do it is also beautiful. Like you call yourself the unconventional therapist, because if you're watching it right now, if you're seeing this video, Anthony has this trap t-shirt on, he's is yeah, I think
See, this is
but
the
it is
thing. A lot of
beautiful.
people want counseling and therapy to be so stuffy, but that's not my approach. Okay, I need you.
Hmm.
I need to be able to see the real you. You need to be able to see the real me, because if we can't see each other authentically, we don't have a rapport. And counseling and the transfer of information is not going to take place, because you're not being your true authentic self. So I want to break the norms of what a therapist should look like. It should be all stuffy. No, you're gonna catch me in a graphic tee, some jeans, and a nice pair of Nikes, Dunks, J's, what have you, Air Force Ones. But I do
Right.
dress up, when I have to for work and in the school or
Right.
whatever. But it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then I know you said that now that you are working with our children.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And I'm just so curious to know, I guess, how that transition has been, like from going from adults and working with primarily adults to now with children. Like, how is that? I can imagine that it's like showed you life in different ways and different views and
Mhm.
perspectives.
It's wonderful. It keeps me on my toes because in the beginning I was kind of against, like, oh my God, I don't want to work with kids. They can't express themselves. They can't tell me what's going on. But I guess I was in that frame of mind of I want to fix, 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 fix. However, but there's a process to helping someone, you know, realize their full potential or fix distorted thinking. So once I enrolled in a child therapy class in my program, I was kind of like, oh, okay. It was kind of play therapy. And it taught you how to utilize play to help children express their emotions and process, traumatic events. So that kind of opened my eyes and the light bulb went off like, maybe I should do something with this. Lo and behold, got a job working as a school-based mental health professional. And so the thing is that when you're working with elementary grades, they don't have the words to describe what it is that they're feeling. Case in point, I have a kindergarten that's going through grief. So you have to utilize play to get them to open up and talk about what they're feeling. So it looks like we might play one day, when we might paint the next day, we might play with dolls one day. And so what that does is create an environment that's safe for them to begin to talk to you about what's going on in their little worlds. And then when I get to my middle schoolers, it's a totally different ballgame. Middle schoolers are going through depression, anxiety, body issues, navigating peer groups. So that's a lot. So you also have a touch of PTSD thrown in there because you don't know these children's lived experience. So I like to use narrative therapy and person centered, because person centered, you're the driver. You know what's best for you. And it lives in the thought that people have the ability to make change. You just need to encourage and guide them through and identify any incongruence in their thought patterns. All right. So that's that. But also, narrative therapy allows you to bring me into your life. You're telling me your life story. So you're continuously writing your life story. However, if you don't like something in there, with my help, with the therapeutic process, we can rewrite some of those entries in that book from a different perspective. So something that may have happened to you when you were in your childhood, let's say when you were in fifth grade, that traumatically affected you. If we look at it from a different perspective now that we're grown, we can analyze it a little bit further and take it apart and look at it from a fresh perspective, and we can rewrite that. But we can also promote healing by seeing it from various perspectives and angles. So that's that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I can imagine too now that when you are working with us adults,
Mhm.
you're now able to kind of see a picture of our own childhood and the things that we never healed from, because now you're able
Mhm.
to associate, ooh, you were feeling like this, and that translated now into this, into adulthood, because because there are many children who do not have you, and they're going through this alone, through these feelings alone. And I can imagine if they don't heal from it in adulthood, it's going to show up as, something else,
Mhm.
and it's just beautiful now that you're able to make that link into who you can actually see these children and see who they could become if they don't handle this now, Wow. So I think that's beautiful. Great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Great job. You
Thank
are
you.
doing the work of the Lord.
Trying,
Yeah. Yeah.
trying. But some of y'all don't want to listen, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like pulling teeth. And it's kind of like,
Oh,
okay, let's try that again. So
yes. And
it
yes.
is it is a journey, but when you see the people get it and you see the growth, because if I'm sitting back thinking about one of my clients that came into therapy with me, in the beginning, he's been with me for a year now. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know if this gonna work. Like, so it was kind of like, don't give up on me. I was like, I'm not gonna give up on you. Let's work through it. But it was a lot of learning and unlearning experiences from his past. And being a Black gay man coming from a religious household where you have a parent that is a minister, that can be a challenging life. It can cause trauma. It can cause family issues. And so we had to do a lot of learning, unlearning. We had to do a lot of self-esteem work. We had to do a lot of self-worth work. We had to do a lot of CBT to reframe distorted thinking about what it is to be a Black gay man. So, yeah, it took a while. However, he's thriving. He has a new lease on life. The light bulb finally went off. It's okay to be a Black gay man. And he's thriving. He basically had to, all right, can we just be real? He had to be like he had to be like Terry from Soul Food. He had to say eventually, fuck the family, and I'm gonna live for me. Okay?
Yeah. I know that journey all too well. I was sitting there thinking like, oh my God, am I the patient? Like, okay.
It's okay.
Because yeah, that definitely knows some, hey, I get all of that. I'm familiar with that. Thank you for doing the work of the Lord. And also you're getting paid for it too.
Jon John.
I know I think the last one episode, you're like, you trying to call me broke? I'm like, wait a minute, no. He's doing the work of the Lord, honey, but he's getting the coin same time. All right, so I want to get into like the real conversation of why I wanted to have you here, right? So I was sharing with you earlier today that every day I begin with like a little devotional. And so today's devotional came from the Songs of Solomon, right, in the Bible.
You're the reading them erotic Bible stories, baby.
Yeah. So, but there are people I'm sure listening who are like, what in the world is the Songs of Solomon, right? So it is in the Bible. It's like this beautiful poetic book in the Old Testament. Okay. Unlike other books in the Bible, they may focus on history or commandments. This one is all about love, desire, and intimacy. It reads like a series of love poems between two people who are deeply drawn to the other one, right? It's tender, it's passionate. It reminds us that romance and desire are not only natural, but they're sacred. Some people see it as like Christ's love for the church or God's love for the people. But it just stirs up this kind of like love. It makes you feel like alive, even when you're reading it. And reading that has kind of awakened in me my original thoughts on becoming gay, or when I came out of the closet. I came out like in 2002, and at that time there was a love I was pursuing. I had the idea of like finding my person, that we would have a civil union, because in 2002, it wasn't legal to be married, but I still had that vision of the civil union. I saw the his and his sinks and the matching BMWs, and that was the thing that I was like aspiring for, looking for. And somewhere along the lines through life and whatnot, you start to see that. Well, I start to see that I'm not pursuing that as much as I was before, and now dealing with this thought of saying that maybe I should prioritize that kind of search again, or that kind of yearning again. And I felt that it would be a great conversation to have with you, because I know that even just sharing a little bit of that, you were already familiar with some of the things that what I'm saying, and that, and we can explore what happened to detract someone away from what they really wanted. We can discuss that, and then ultimately, I would like to know what is the pre-work that someone should be doing who is thinking about romanticizing love again, or prioritizing that kind of love again. So you take the floor and let me know what you get from all that mumbo jumbo that I just spewed at you.
Okay. I think before anyone can pursue any type of romantic relationship, the work needs to be done on self first. Because how can you love someone else and pour into someone else if you don't love yourself? If you haven't done the work to heal those unhealed traumas, those unhealed wounds, And also, you need to take a look at self and look at this is the thing that I see in a lot of gay couples sometimes, that sometimes the lived experience of childhood spills over into their romantic relationships. And sometimes we get caught up in, oh, I want to have a love like my mother and father had, or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But that is based in heteronormative values and thought. Okay. We must understand that we are Black gay men. We can't always use that as a model for what we want our relationships to look like or what have you. Because sometimes mom and daddy didn't have the best relationship. Sometimes the way that daddy talked to mama, or the way that, she handled certain situations could be toxic, and it's spilling over into your relationship and how you're talking to your partner. Okay. So those are the things that we need to get out of our brain and out of our mind. And we have to create the relationship that works for us. Okay. That can maybe like you should take pieces from, I say your parents' relationship, the positive things, don't bring in the negatives or what have you. However, within one couple that I've worked with, um, there seems to be, well, most of the time when people come to therapy, it's communication issues. It's one of the main reasons they're coming or what have you. So the thing is, within her household, they didn't talk about feelings or anything
Mm-hmm.
below the
Yeah.
surface level. And so her husband had a problem, or has a problem with that in their relationship. It doesn't go beyond surface. It's kind of like he has to pull teeth for her to talk about, how was your day? How are you feeling? Those type of things. And so he doesn't feel as though that she's emotionally available to him. However, as we explored in the therapy session, this is why the family dynamic that she grew up in, they didn't talk about feelings. They didn't talk about being vulnerable. That was a sign of weakness. So this has translated and spilled over into your current marriage. And the thing is, let me tell you this. For couples who are thinking about, getting married, please do your couples therapy and individual therapy first before rushing down the aisle. That is necessary, because you need to do the work to fix any underlying problems before you walk down the marriage, um, the marriage lane, the
The
marriage
aisle.
aisle.
Yeah.
Baby, I got caught up. So you
It's
need to
okay.
do that work first, because what you need to do is fix, differences of perspective as far as family dynamic, how we view finances and things like that, or communication issues, or any past traumas such as, you cheated on me in the past, this, and the other. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
things that need to be addressed before you walk down the marriage aisle. Then after you do your individual and couples therapy, you need to do marital therapy. Marital therapy is when you've resolved all the things or the issues that you have as a couple first. Marital therapy focuses on perspectives of how do we view our relationship. How do we plan on raising children if children is an option for you guys? Do you want children? She may want children, he may not. Right? Where are we as far as finances are concerned? Those are the things, and religion or spirituality are the things that you address in marital therapy. After that, boom, you get your certificate, da 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 da. And I think it also gives you a discount on your marriage license too. So after that, then you walk through the aisle. You set yourself up for success by doing the groundwork that leads up to the big day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's my
And
perspective on that.
I will say that, and that is great, great, great advice that you are definitely giving to exist to couples, and
Mm-hmm.
also to people who aspire to be in a relationship. The work that they will continue to be able to do. So, what does that work look like for someone who is single? What does that work look like to even get to the point of preparing yourself for being in a couple? What does that look like for the individual who is single?
It looks like doing the inner work and figuring out who you are as a person and what it is that you look for or desire for in a partner. Sometimes we have people who have unhealed wounds from abandonment issues, such as daddy wasn't present. So you look for those things, that love that you never had from your father in your romantic partners. You're looking
Mm,
for a love that you longed for. Or you build up resistance, and when someone actually shows it to you, since you never had it before, you become this disastrous person that self sabotages. We see that a
mm-hmm,
lot sometimes as
mm-hmm,
well.
mm-hmm,
So before
mm-hmm,
getting into a
mm-hmm,
relationship, you need to know who you are as a person. You need to be able to define what type of relationship that it is that you want and the attributes, characteristics that you are looking for in your partner. Once you've done the self work on yourself, you'll attract a whole different type of partner. And sometimes it's like when you're
I like that.
wounded, you attract people that need to be healed. That is not your responsibility. And a lot of people have this savior complex where it's like, well, I can fix them or I can save them, what have you. No, they need to save themselves first, get in their own little therapy and work on that. But once you've healed yourself, you start to attract a different type of person. And you have the willpower, and you have the ability to say what it is that you will and that you will not accept in a relationship, or what you will and will not accept in a partner. You'll be able to set clear, specific boundaries, and you stick to those. Speaking from experience, when I was hurt, when I was wounded, when I was doing my self work or whatever, well, before that, it was kind of like, oh, I was attracting all type of little bummy people, what have you, because you're operating out of a spirit of, okay, I want to fix somebody. Let me get me a project, whatever. But in reality, I should have been working on me. Now that I worked on me, it's a totally different ball game. I'm able to see the red flag before I'd invite it in. And I'm not always in therapy mode or whatever. However, it makes you aware of, I don't know about that one. So,
So, and I hear you saying, especially awareness, and I know that awareness is key
mhm,
because it does get to the place of you just having to understand that this is why I am behaving the way I am. It's
mhm.
because of this and being aware of it. Um, and I guess the thing is like, what are the tools to have that awareness and apply it? Like, or does having the awareness, make it less likely to happen again? Or is there, how do you maintain that?
Checks through CBT, kind of behavioral therapy, being able
Right.
to just being able to spot, as we call it, the cognitive distortion of the flawed thinking or the thinking error. So you could be
Mm,
like in your own head, like, oh, he's gonna be the one for me, da 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 da. You're excusing behavior. However, once you're able to stop, I call it press pause. Hold on, let's press pause for a minute. Let's look at
press pause.
this from various perspectives. Let's look at, if I choose A, this is the outcome.
Hmm.
If I choose B, this is the outcome. And how do we get to C? So, what you're doing is you're stopping to think of alternate perspectives to a situation or to a problem. And sometimes we don't have that awareness. We just go, all right, this is what it is. No, we need to be able to self check ourselves. And that
Hmm.
takes time to learn that. And that's something
Mm,
that I work on with my students and with my adult clients as well. The person that I spoke of earlier, that came from that religious household, we had to do a lot of um, CBT to rectify some of those flawed thinkings. Because if you grew up as a child and somebody telling you that a demon is in you because you happen to be
hmm.
gay,
Hmm.
you're
Come
going to
on,
demonize
speak to it.
yourself, and you're going to be like,
Hmm.
oh my God, the world is against me. Oh my God, what if I come out and gay? They're not going to like me. Baby, you live in a metropolitan area where this is the black gay mecca of the South. It's okay. Right? So let's reframe that. So we had to do a lot of, when did you feel that the world was against you, or how old were you, or when was the first time you recognized that the world was unsafe? And so once we did that Socratic questioning, I found out a lot of this stuff started in his childhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
in a better place now.
Right.
He has a functioning relationship that he's happy in, that he's been in for quite some time. But even though that you're in a relationship, you still carry around those teachings that you were taught as a young child, and they imprint
Mm.
on your brain. Okay. So it takes a while to unlearn so much unhealthy stuff that has been, passed down to you. But
Yes.
he's
Yes.
thriving right now, and I love it. I love to see it.
Oh, oh my goodness. I'm so glad. I'm glad for him. I do, because yes, that you definitely spoke some things that are similarities within my own life and experience. So I know what that work looks like, and I know what that voice sounds like. Too
Mm-hmm.
that voice that does say that there is a demon inside of you, that is an evil spirit, and then you develop I know I developed a way of thinking that anything bad that happened in my life was because of that thing.
Child, did they send you to the church to
Yes.
be to have the exorcism performed?
Not in the sense of like how it may appear like on in the movies with the Catholic
Okay.
priest tying you to a bed and whatnot. But baby, I've been in the prayer lines though.
That's
I
what I'm
have been
saying.
up
I'm just I'm saying, did
there.
they come over there
Yeah,
and
and
they
I've
had to
been
hug you
in
and
that
pray on
prayer
you?
circle and that
Okay.
put your hand on the head and push your head back. Your neck is hurting and
So
you're
was that
praying back.
traumatizing for you?
And well, it was traumatizing, but at the same time, it was a cooperative experience as well because of course, like I was denying this thing inside of me too. And
So it
so
created
that was a
internalized
also
homophobia.
exactly. So it wasn't like I was going up there saying, no, I don't want to go. Stop it. No, it wasn't that. It was like, yes, please take this thing out of me. It was a cooperative experience. It really was, but then and in that moment you probably would feel this feeling of like, okay, I'm good, I could do this, honey. And but then you go home, things settle down, and it is like, girl, girl, I'm still here, bitch.
Not
What are
as
you
it.
doing? Yeah, girl. Tap you on your
See,
shoulders,
when
and
I
and that's
think
and
about
that's what it feels like.
my grandmother was the church. Okay, she created the first church choir, church youth department, family
Yeah.
friends day, all of that. So it wasn't a thing of oh my God, you're going to hell, you have a demon in you. Da, da, da. It was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I don't really like it or whatever. But I came out in high school. So it was kind of like my 10th grade year. I had a boyfriend and all this stuff. His name was Anthony as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, I remember she was like, well, this may be a phase that he's going through. My mother was like, yeah, it may be a phase or what have you. But I can remember my freshman year of college. I met an older man, what have you. And
Mm.
I can remember crying on the bathroom floor on the phone with my grandmother. That's when we had the cordless phones, baby. Did not have retractable antenna. It was more advanced then. But I can remember crying on my bathroom floor, talking to her on the phone, and she was like, "You know what? It don't make me love you any less. I'm gonna love you regardless." And she was like, my only hope for you is for you to graduate college, find your dream job, and find you a nice, decent man, and be happy. And that was that. So after I got
Mm.
that approval from her, because she was like my second mama, she was like, you know, it is what it is. Grandma could do no wrong. Grandma was it. After I heard that from her, it was kind of like, okay, I don't need nobody else's approval. And been rocking ever since. Um, did I have a traumatizing experience with the church? Yeah, when you hear them preach the fire and brimstone sermons or whatever about the gays are going to hell, da 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 da. However, I had to become confident in myself, and I started walking out of those church services, what have you. And that kind of, made me look at the Black church differently until I
Right.
found affirming churches in the Atlanta area. So yeah, everybody's lived experience is different. I'm glad I did not have to go through the prayer
Yes.
circle and get anointed with the Pompeii olive oil. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that wasn't my experience, but I do remember having that internalized homophobia, then wanting to deny, oh, I am gay, whatever, or what if people find out? But shit, by the time I became a junior in high school, it was like I didn't care. When I got to college, it was like, okay, I'm gonna live my life. That was like the early 2000s when Atlanta was booming, and it was just black gay excellence, and you saw black gay men thriving. You know, I was dating somebody older that was working on a PhD at Clark Atlanta University, so I got to see a different aspect of black gay culture here. But
Yes, bougie
yeah,
pussy.
it
Yeah, I'm
created
sorry.
all this fabulousness that you see right now. What did you call me? What
Bougie.
did you say?
I said bougie pussy, honey.
It is. It is very bourgeois,
It's
baby. You do not
bougie.
think you're gonna
Very
give me a
bourgeois.
Popeyes 2-piece and a pepper and think you go. No, I had standards.
Okay. High
Did
price, high value. Know your
high
worth.
value and did and still is. You need to learn. I'm gonna need my black gay men to learn the worth of your witness. Let me stop. But
The worth of your wit. Okay. Okay.
anyway, I think you call me
Yeah.
high price bougie.
You
Anyway,
is. No, but it's nice. I think it's beautiful. No, no, no. And I think it's wonderful. And I like what I have gained from our conversation thus far. Like one of the things that keeps resurfacing in my brain is the matching of energy.
right.
You have to be on this level of frequency of what you want and what you desire and who you are too.
Mm-hmm.
You have to match that. And so even when you find the value in yourself and what you are prepared for, what you are striving for in your life, then it makes way for you to meet others who are on that same wavelength and on
Mm-hmm.
that same mind frame. Because I do believe, because I will not buy into the thought that that most men in our community are not desiring love. There is, I know there are a great many of us who have seemed to have said, I don't want to be in love anymore. I just want to go to the
You
parties
trying to
and the
go there?
dark
You trying to
rooms.
go there
Yeah, we
today?
ain't gotta
You
stay.
are
We ain't gotta stay on it long. Because my thing is not about that culture.
right.
Because I'm not judging that culture. I fit. Hey, do what you do. You know what I'm
Right. We ain't
saying?
judging them too.
But
You're not
no,
judging
no,
them.
no. I'm not. I mean, now I just like with you, or I ain't gonna say with you. I do say know why you're doing what you're doing. That's all.
Exactly.
That is the only thing I say about whatever we do in life. Know why you're doing what you're doing, because I do think that sometimes we are all, not all, not them, we are all doing things that stem from our trauma. We all
Mm-hmm.
do it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And it's just good to be aware of what we are doing. But I do know that there are people though who are on a different, or who don't pursue that, and who really genuinely do want to find partnership and romantic love, and it begins, like you were saying, matching that energy and that frequency there. And you've hit on those self-work that we have to even do before we even get to that place
Exactly. How
and
you
stuff
gonna
to
love
increase
somebody
that.
and you don't even love yourself? You have never even experienced love. So you self-sabotage when somebody genuinely is trying to, show you
Hmm.
that they love you. You push it away because it's foreign. You never experienced that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wouldn't know how to accept it. And so you
Excuse
go
me.
into that self-sabotage cycle. So that's why you have to do the inner work first to learn to be able to love yourself, to share and accept love, and to know how to receive it when somebody genuinely gives it to you. So
Well, you listeners, I do hope that you have gotten a lot out of this conversation. I actually forgot that we were recording for a moment there because it was
I did
just
too,
feels
because I was like,
very
where we going?
genuine. I did.
Exactly, because I was about to
I
go there because
did.
I was about to bring
Because
up
me
I
and
was
you
about
were
to bring
just
up the
talking, and I just happened to think like, oh, this is a podcast, so I'm sure people are listening now. So I really do hope that you all have gotten something out of this
you didn't allow me to
conversation.
tell them about my
No,
podcast that
no,
I'm
no.
trying to come out
I'm going
with.
to, hey, I want to do that. I want to
Okay.
do that. Because we're going to get ready to go into the ending of this. And so in the ending part of this episode, I do want people to know how to find you, where to find you, what are you working on?
Okay.
Just tell us all the things, all the things. Go ahead. You can
Okay,
start.
well, you can find me if you want to look on Psychology Today. You can find me there at Anthony D. Jackson. If you would like to email me, you can email me at Anthony, the letter J, therapy at gmail.com. I am also a part of the clinical staff at Dr. White Therapy Group. You can Google Dr. White Therapy Group. You can find it on Google. We are a small boutique counseling practice where we specialize in counseling through the lifespan. I see everyone from children up to 99. Okay. So my specialty, like he told you, is Black African American families, LGBTQ, children, mood disorder, substance use disorder. Hit me up. If you need to find me over there, you can email me at Anthony at Dr. Dr. White, WHITE, therapy, THERAPY.com. Okay. Also, I'm currently working on developing a podcast. I have all the things that I need to make it go live. So what it is going to be called the Black Rainbow Collective, where it's going to have 2 licensed therapists as well as 2 individuals on there that we're going to explore, life from a Black perspective. It's going to give you a little bit of clinical mental health. We're going to talk about things such as depression, relationships, ethical non-monogamy. We will be addressing things like that, relationship dynamics. From an unconventional perspective, we don't want to be this is not your mama's therapy, this is not your mama's trauma or whatever. So basically a fresh perspective to the things that Black Americans are experiencing or going through in their everyday lives with a little bit of comedy thrown in there, okay?
Yes.
But yeah, that's where you can find me. And I look forward to interacting and connecting with you all. Book me.
Yes. But I'm gonna tell you, I look forward to that podcast. I look forward to that conversation because also I am aware that, if I'm changing my intention on focusing on a romantic love and partnership, um, I also need to be aware of the different types of relationships that exist,
Mm-hmm.
that because as you stated, we cannot build or try to replicate a relationship based on what we are familiar with, what we grew up in, or heteronormative couples, or what people chose. So we have to also have that conversation of what does that relationship look like now?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Which, like you said, the ethical non-monogamy. There's,
Mm-hmm.
polyamory. There's monogamish. There
The
is,
ish.
ish.
The ish, baby.
Which
Baby,
I've always said
please
that,
define the ish. Because
which
if
I've
the
said that
ish
I'm
ain't
open
defined,
to. Because I think that's a style of love that I've always said that okay, I don't feel too bad about. But even that, but just thinking about that and being on, knowing that too. So yeah, so I look forward to those
okay.
conversations. I told you I will support and do whatever I possibly can,
Thank you.
whatever knowledge you need or anything like that, because I totally believe that in this time, we know what time that we are in. We're in a time where they are even just taking out people who are, and when I say taking out, I mean like taking off air people who speak their minds or speak, certain things. So it's good that we have these platforms like podcasts, so that we can continue to create community with like-minded people who are not wanting to go dark, who are wanting to
Right.
keep it light, who want to keep developing, keep growing, and then no matter what the climate is. So I'm thankful for anyone who is trying to create more content that does that.
So we're
We
going to
need
bring it to
that.
you with the Black Rainbow Collective. You can look for that to launch in October. So we have
Woo.
already developed like the first pilot episode, and it's going to bring some heat. And so the thing is with that,
Okay.
we will have rotating licensed therapists coming in to speak, such as Dr. White. She's dynamic, she's phenomenal. Also, we have Dr. Payne, who's also the program chair at Fort Valley University. She has a passion for talking about couples and, relationships. And we're also going to have some other people on there that have been through these
Hmm.
type of relationships, such as the ethical non-monogamy relationships, and
Mm-hmm,
it's a
mm-hmm,
female, and
mm-hmm,
she will bring a
mm-hmm.
fresh perspective to that. She's a real one. She's a firecracker. Y'all gonna love her. Also, I
Nice.
have another good Judy that I would love to bring on. He said y'all gonna get him hate mail, but I think he will bring a
Ooh,
fresh
okay.
perspective to this because he keeps it real and he has lived experience of, uh, being a bisexual Black man. So, that is,
Mm.
oh my God, that's taboo. Oh my, so that's going to bring another perspective to it. So be on the
Yeah.
lookout for the Black Rainbow Collective coming
The
soon
Black Rainbow
to wherever you
Collective.
find your podcast.
All right. The Black Rainbow Collective. Be on the lookout for that. Anthony, thank you so much for giving me this part of your Saturday morning to have this conversation. Thank you so much. I have definitely, I've gotten something out of it, just by having this conversation with you that's going to be with me throughout the whole day.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
wish we could have been together tonight, celebrate with Gladys Knight and Shaka Khan
What you
and
gonna
Stephanie
do for
Mills
me?
and yes, yes. Oh, yes.
What
When is
happened
your
with pause,
birthday?
baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I want to hear the I don't know if she'll do stay. Stay,
That might be too high.
stay.
Shaka gonna give y'all just a little
Yeah.
piece. She gonna give you a little piece. That's a that. I mean, I don't think it's a
Let
deep
the
cut.
background singers do it. Shit. Let the background give it to one of the background girls. I'm okay with that. If they can, as long as they hit the note. As long as they can hit the note, I'm okay with it. I
I
get you,
think Will
Shaka. Just
Down and
pass the
White be
mic.
singing that one in the rehearsals or whatever. But of course, she got to give us "Ain't Nobody." Mama gonna
Oh
sing
yeah.
from the
Oh my
depths of her
goodness.
belly.
Time that start going, that little
Don't
chorus.
do that. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Right, right.
You already know that's gonna. Ooh, she could just play that and not even come out on stage, and the place will go up.
Mm.
As
Uh-uh.
yeah.
I gotta see her do Everlasting Love live. Cause Mama sound like she all deep and husky in the beginning. What?
Yeah, you know.
She pull it up, but baby, when she come up for the what verse is that? The second one or whatever, when she punched the background singers in. No, Shaka, I'm gonna need you now to smoke the Newport Cadillac before you get out there, okay? Because we saw you in the hallway on that video on Patty's birthday. You almost burnt her dress with that cigarette when it was lit. But Patty had to tell you, look, girl, watch your cigarette now. Um, but I'm gonna need her to be good and hydrated with water, a coconut water. Girl, wait till you get off the stage. Go fire up that Newport 100. Okay, we need you in good full voice.
What it is about us singers and smoking. I don't know why do we play around with that? I mean, because I sing as well, but I do like to smoke too. But even knowing that because like poor Aretha, Aretha was doing that shit too.
Aretha,
And you
I would not do any Aretha slander, but baby,
okay,
Aretha was
okay, okay,
asthmatic,
we ain't
baby,
gonna do
towards the
that.
end. I ain't gonna lie, baby, because on some of them
Yeah,
recordings,
she
it gave very
was. She
airy thin
was. Yeah,
voice.
yeah. It just became this like little falsetto that she did, and versus her roaring voice that was able to hit the notes and everything like that. Anywho, I'm not saying it's all about smoking, but it's a whole nother conversation. We need to
We could talk
let's
about
go
that too.
ahead
We
and
talk about
wrap up
smoking
this
in therapy,
conversation. But
but
thank you all for listening. Let me just stop the thing. At least stop recording. We'll keep talking. All right. Bye bye. Y'all still doing all right over there? I hope so. What an amazing and much needed conversation. I want to thank my guest, Anthony D. Jackson, the Unconventional Therapist, for sharing his wisdom and heart with us today. If you'd like to connect with Anthony, you can email him at anthonyjtherapy@gmail.com. You can also find him on Psychology Today under Anthony D. Jackson, or check out his work with the Dr. White Therapy Group. And be sure to keep an eye out for his new podcast, The Black Rainbow Collective, where real talk meets mental health from a Black perspective. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, rate, share, subscribe, do all the things to show us you love us. It really helps us to grow this community, you know? So if you are looking for any more inspiring conversations, feel free to visit the site www.gobeyondyourhorizon.com, and you can follow us on Instagram as well at go_beyond_your-horizon. Until next time, remember, you are powerful beyond measure, and it is never too late to go beyond your horizon.